Hey, good morning. This is the CBS2 News Update. I'm Chris Wragge. First, an update on the breaking news we've been following all morning of a massive steam pipe explosion in the Flatiron District. That steam explosion sending debris flying on 5th Avenue between 21st and 22nd Streets. These photos show the huge cloud of steam billowing into the air and the cracked ground below. Now there is concern of asbestos contamination in the air. CBS2's Natalie Duddridge is there live for us. Natalie?
Well, hi there, Chris. A news conference was held here on the scene moments ago, and we are now being told that it could take days to clean this area up, especially because there are concerns about contaminants in the air. I just want to give you a look here at the scene. At one point this morning, there were more than 100 firefighters. If you look just past those emergency vehicles near 23rd and 21st, that's where the steam explosion happened around 6:40 this morning. Authorities say it was a result of an old pipe that was installed back in 1932 that exploded. A viewer caught the explosion on camera early this morning, just moments after it happened. Now, city officials scoured the area. They say they found no people injured inside any of those buildings. They also say it doesn't look like there was any structural damage to the nearby buildings, but they are warning people to steer clear of this area while environmental testing is being conducted to determine if there is asbestos in the air. Now, as a precaution, they're also telling people to wash their clothes and to shower. And we also saw some people being decontaminated in tents right here at the scene. Now, the FDNY has turned off water mains and is inspecting nearby manholes to ensure safety, and many buildings were evacuated here in this area, but some people say they were told the opposite, not to leave and to stay inside.
My coworkers are held inside that building, which is, I think, in the center of it. I'm a chiropractor, so I work at a PT clinic. So I'm supposed to be there at 8. We've got patients that were showing up at 7, and the girls texted me at like 6:45, and they're like, something exploded, power went out, so they shut off the elevators, they shut off the whole power of our building.
A huge white bilious plume of smoke emerging from somewhere underground, surrounded by tons of fire and emergency and medical personnel.
Now, we want to show you an aerial view. Take a look at what Chopper 2 caught. This is what the hole in the ground looks like now. You can see some of the crumbled pavement there, and in some parts it looks like it was ripped apart from the explosion. Now, the MTA says some of the trains are still bypassing 23rd Street. Authorities also telling us you'll want to steer clear of this area. Many road closures, and this isn't just going to go on for hours. This could go on for days. Again, officials saying there is a big cleanup. They're going to need to hose down the sides of those buildings and the pavement because of concerns of those possible contaminants here in the area. We're live in the Flatiron District. Natalie Duddridge, CBS 2 News.
All right, Natalie, thank you. What a mess. Okay, let's get over to John Elliott right now with your forecast. Flip side of that coin is it's a beautiful day out there, Johnny.
I was thinking the same thing, Chris. In stark contrast to all that mayhem, I mean, we've got marvelous weather. So I hope folks can enjoy it. Sunny and 75 in the park right now. Numbers around the area so comfortable. Low to mid 70s, really without exception. Those numbers on average a few degrees cooler than we were yesterday. And the flip side is it's so dry. Yeah, that makes it feel comfortable. 84 the anticipated high. That is the normal high. And when you check the sky, my, it is just very nice. It's a big ridge of high pressure, and it is going to stick around today and tomorrow. That's the good news. So get out there, sunscreen on. Watch out for moderate rip current risk for the beaches of New York. But, yeah, today, tomorrow, really nice. Just in time for the weekend. More humidity, chance of a late day, better chance of an evening shower Saturday, unsettled pattern first part of next week. Enjoy this great day. Back to you, Chris.
Hey, John, thanks so much. 2 beaches on Fire Island have reopened the day after 2 kids were apparently bitten by sharks. Both children suffered leg wounds. 12-year-old Lola Polina was bitten at Sailors Haven Beach, and 13-year-old Matthew Donaldson at Atlantique Beach. The attacks happened within minutes of each other, about 4.5 miles apart.
It was like this tannish, orangey looking like body, and then it was like this small fin on top. And then when I got out, my leg was like bloody.
He had several puncture holes in the form of a bite. It was multi-road, indicative of a shark.
Rescuers pulled a tooth from Donaldson's leg. It's being examined to determine if it actually came from a shark. An arrest is made in last weekend's fatal shooting of a Brooklyn teenager. 16-year-old Justin Ritchie was gunned down in East New York on Sunday in front of a bodega. Police arrested 24-year-old Relief Bradford, and he's expected to be arraigned today. He's charged with murder, gang assault, and criminal use of a firearm. Ritchie was killed a day after celebrating his 16th birthday. New this morning, a study from a local watchdog group says the MTA needs to spend billions more on subway cars. The MTA's current budget provides $1.7 billion to purchase new cars and overhaul the existing ones. But the nonpartisan Citizens Budget Commission says that number is about $7 billion short. The group recommends spending $8.3 billion on more than 3,600 new subway cars and another $710 million to overhaul existing cars over the next 10 years. Well, this is peak apartment rental season in the city, and there are lots of options and possibilities. Lots of problems if you don't do your homework, though. CBS 2's Lisa Rosner has the search secrets that you need to know.
A one-bedroom with a view of the East River and modern finishings. Sabina Wiseman thought it was a steal.
I asked the agent whether there's anything that I should know.
The agent said no, and she negotiated the rent down to $4,000 a month. Moved in May and discovered this.
As soon as you open your windows, that you have on the east side the heliport, which runs 12 hours a day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., at times up to 4 helicopters. I was told by the management here that they're not required to let me know that there is a helipad, it was my job to investigate it.
Real estate attorney Adam Lightman-Bailey says the leasing company is right.
The landlord is required to tell you nothing.
What is law? Before lease signing, a building must disclose whether there were bed bugs in the unit, but only in the last year. The Department of Housing, Preservation and Development has a free database that discloses complaints and violations like bed bugs, leaks, and heating problems. And the Department of Buildings has an online portal that lists construction planned in the area.
I recommend to clients before signing a lease that they stand in front of the door for a half hour greeting tenants.
Go during work hours or after work hours in the morning, in the evening, and the weekends.
Otherwise, you could be out of luck.
Yes, it has been helped, and it's a very expensive lesson.
Experts say it's a renter's market, so take the time before you sign. There's always another apartment around the corner. On the east side, Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
And you can find the links to those free city databases on our website, cbsnewyork.com. Well, the city council votes to require Airbnb to disclose the names and addresses of its hosts to an Office of Special Enforcement. The measure is expected to be signed by Mayor de Blasio. It's aimed at preventing landlords and tenants from renting apartments for a few days at a time. It's illegal in most buildings for an apartment to be rented for less than 30 days. City officials say Airbnb is making the housing crisis worse by making short-term rentals more profitable than long-term leases. Airbnb is now threatening a lawsuit. Well, New York native Billy Joel celebrating a historic 100th show at Madison Square Garden last night. The Piano Man wowing the lucky crowd with a surprise performance from Bruce Springsteen, and then belted out some of his biggest hits all night. Before the show, there was a big cake backstage, and then on stage, Joel was joined by his wife and daughter as a banner was raised to the rafters to celebrate this milestone.
To us, he's just one of ours, and we can't get enough of him.
Meet you anytime you want in our Italian restaurant.
I couldn't think of a better way to peak in my life.
It's when you hear other people sing Billy's songs, you appreciate just how good his voice is. Joel's first performed at Madison Square Garden back in 1978, and 5 years ago he started a monthly residency with sold-out shows that are expected to continue into next year and, of course, the future, as every show is sold out. That's your CBS 2 News Update. I'm Chris Wragge. Thanks so much for joining us.